guys, and this is our presentation for the NSA Signage Maintenance and Creation Project.
When we came into this project, we had three main objectives, which were to restore the NSA boundary and no horses signs down at the nature study area, as well as create and install new signs to be installed at the trailhead of the new trail running through ABAC Big Woods, which were made by other students of ours, as well as produce and install a new informational sign down there at the ABAC Big Woods to explain the importance of the ABAC Big Woods and everything they do for us, as well as give a bit of information on Slash Pine as a whole.
As far as the Big Wood sign goals were, the most important thing was to be able to highlight the significance of the Slash Pine stand that we have here at ABAC NSA. The Slash Pine stand, named the Big Woods, is the only 120 plus row stand of Slash on the whole Tiffany area. And it's very important to understand why this stand is so valuable to not only the ecosystem that occurs naturally, but also to the workforce and what goes on as far as timber production.
To complete this project, we needed three main necessities, which was a wood workshop provided by the Yale building, which is where we did our work, as well as a digital design software. In this case, we used PowerPoint to create our informational sign that we installed down in the Big Woods, as well as aerial image technology. In this case, we used Google Earth to create a map of the trail running through the Big Woods.
When it became time to collect materials necessary for the completion of the project, our stakeholder, Mr. Philip Ford, was much of a help in going to Lowe's and being there with us when we purchased supplies for the project, which was funded by the school. Everything that was purchased was necessary for the completion of the project, such as 4x4 posts, 2x4 planks, plywood, plexiglass, paint, water sealant, and other hardware.
When it came to our first objective, which was restoring the existing signs around the NSA, we went down there and pulled them up out of the ground and brought them back to the shop, where we were able to use a belt sander to sand away the weathered wood to give it a fresh, like new look. As you can see in the image on the left, that's the signs after they had been sanded down. We used green and yellow spray paint, which is ABAC colors, which we were told to use by one of our stakeholders, Mr. Philip Ford, to use. And we used that to spray over the existing lettering, and we used a belt sander to get rid of the excess paint. After that, we used water sealant to keep the wood from weathering away as quickly as it did on the existing signs.
As far as the creation of the new signs goes, we used a router provided to us by Dr. NSA, our stakeholder and professor for the course. The router was very useful in producing writing for the new signs, and it gave them a very fresh, very crisp look, which fully represented what we had to offer at ABAC. The new signs were also sandwood, painted, water sealed, and constructed, just as the existing signs were that were refreshed.
Came to the painting, sanding, and sealing process. In the center photograph, you can see me using the belt sander to sand off the old wood, and on the right, you can see our refurbished signs installed onto their original posts right before we put them back in the ground. And on the left, you can see our new signs that we constructed along with the boards and the sheet of plywood that we used to create the information sign down at the trailhead at the NSA. That was right after they had been water sealed and were about to be installed back on their posts.
So here you can see me working on the new signage construction, and the bottom left and bottom center photos, you can see the materials used to create the framework and backing for the poster, the big wood sign at the trailhead that meets the farm road. In the upper center photo, you can see me marking posts to be cut and fitted to be installed with the new signs. And then the far right image shows me cutting the framework for the big woods frame that was constructed out of 2x4s and the plywood with a 3/4-inch thick piece of plywood.
Coming into the poster design for the big woods, we wanted to highlight the significance of the big woods as they are the only 120-plus-year-old slash pine stand in Tift County. They're used by us as students for plant identification, cruising timber, prescribed burns, and we also wanted to give a little bit of education on the species of slash pine, as well as what kind of wildlife call home to slash pine stands in South Georgia. And it shows how to keep them healthy. It also includes a map of the Big Woods Trail, which runs through the ABAC Big Woods, and as well as an arrow denoting where you are on the trail.
As far as the production of the Big Wood sign frame, it was constructed in the forestry shop at the building. The post was mounted with a plywood backing and a 4x4 post, and it was covered by a sheet of plexiglass, which is screwed in under the framework. The poster itself was printed at Staples and was also laminated so that it could also help protect the poster and altogether the entire framework from ground.
And mapping of the Big Woods Trail was done by me. I went down there and walked through it on foot and came back to the computer lab and was able to map it out on Google Earth. We used a red arrow to indicate where you were on the Big Woods Trail, which was right at the head, and we wanted our signs to be visible from the farm road and be easily accessible to whoever wanted to walk through the Big Woods on the new trail that was created.
As far as installation goes for the previous and new signs that were produced, they were all placed into either the same spots as before, or if there were better spots to put the existing signs, we placed them in the new spots. And the new signs were placed, as we mentioned before, at the trailhead that meets the farm road. And they're both visible from the road, and you can easily walk up to the new Big Wood sign and, as a visitor, learn all about what the slash stand is and what it represents and how it's used at ABAC, as well as the value it holds.
Judging our overall success, I would consider this project a complete success. We accomplished what we set out to do, which was restore the old faded signs and give them a fresh new look. And we were also able to make them fit the school better by using ABAC colors, as well as we were able to make a sign that hopefully gives people a better appreciation for our ABAC Big Woods and everything it does for us. However, we were held back by we were originally planning to place a new sheet of plexiglass at the kiosk because it was cracked, but we were unable to find a large enough sheet of plexiglass at Lowe's. And it's possible that in the future, if a piece of plexiglass could be located that is large enough and at a reasonable enough price that students in the future could replace that plexiglass, as well as additional informational signs could be made and placed around the NSA, much like the one that we did, highlighting other important species of plants and how important they are to our NSAs, such as cinnamon fern, Levingsane fern, plenty of important plants down there. And if the NSA were to ever expand in the future, new signs could be made for that, denoting the new boundaries of the NSA, and be able to keep horses from walking through there as well. And that was our project. It was really, really enjoyable to work on. I learned a lot more about woodworking that I would have had I not done this project. Did you learn anything, Ryan?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think being able to use the router for the first time was a great experience, and it made me feel a little bit more professional about how I went about woodwork rather than just simply cutting pieces of wood with a saw. I think these new signs would greatly help contribute to the fresh, well kept up with appearance of the NSA and the Big Woods. These signs are made of wood, and they obviously won't last nearly as long as other materials could last. So even though future ideas may contain creating more and more signs, these signs can always be touched up in the future, and we made them so that they could be easily touched up and replaced if needed. But hopefully they don't last nearly as short as the old signs did, and they continue to represent what ABAC is about as far as the cleanliness of them and the professional appearance of them. Thank you, guys.